Hello, everybody. I'm Bryce. That's Brent. We're twins. Talk tech. And that's what we're going to do today. Today, Brent wants to talk about the Google, I think more specifically the YouTube, its algorithm, how to play the system, how to use the system, how to work the system better. Not that we necessarily want to be viral or these main, like the stars of the YouTubes. But, how can you get your word out there better, your voice out there? And before you start, because I know you talk so much, I need to finish what I'm going to say first. But they've changed some things within the past couple years. A couple things for the good, most things for their good, not necessarily our good as content creators or content ingestors. But as a content ingester, someone who actually wants to watch certain things, they've made some recent changes that really annoy me. They used to have, when I would log in, the main page that would show up would be all the channels, maybe not all of them, but most of the channels that I have, that I follow. And then anything new would show up right there. Now, all I get is a little dot on the left-hand side next to the channel name. And then sometimes I get the channel information, channel videos, but they're 2-year-old videos. They're 6-month-old videos, probably videos I've watched already. And part of me understands maybe Google's trying to advertise, hey, here, they have other videos. Watch their old stuff. It's pretty good. Okay, I get that. But for the most part, maybe if it's like the tested channel, I've been following them for quite some time. There's a good chance I've watched almost all of their videos, and if I haven't, it's because I don't wanna. So that part's a little annoying when they make those changes. I remember Facebook made those changes to people's feeds. I don't have Facebook myself, so it didn't annoy me, but I know it annoyed other individuals. They made that same change with Instagram. That's one of the many reasons that I no longer have Instagram, is because when I open up Instagram, I want to see the people on my feed, and I want to see everything that they post in order. Nope. They had to, for some reason, decide this is what we think you should see. And then the advertisements, okay, fine. Every other 5th post advertisement, I can deal with that. But when you start removing content or making it harder for me to see, I don't want to have to go to everybody's page individually to see their stream. Do we want everyone to go to our channel? Well, I guess probably so. So maybe there's a reason to go there on YouTube, but these algorithms, I'm sure it's probably making things easier for them on the back end, but they're just annoying to me as a customer. So what is it that you wanted to talk about regarding the Googles, the YouTubes?
Well, it's not so much exactly the way you described it, because I didn't take notes, a lot of notes anyway, and I don't have any of them in front of me, so whatever I took doesn't matter. About like how to get noticed. Because clearly at, what are we at, 26 followers now?
27.
We're
as of today.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Keep up.
We're not pushing hard, or we're not capable, or we're not interesting, whatever the reason is. I'm sure a lot has to do with the algorithm.
We're not all three.
Algorithm, maybe a little bit of all of it. But there is something going on, and so I'll start at the top layer, just merely on the YouTube side. So, for instance, when a video is released, I don't have alerts turned on, not even for us. And I usually watch it from my other channel, not my channel, but from my regular login. Because I want to kind of see how the whole thing kind of flows together. And to be quite honest, I think we're interesting. And I typically have forgotten what we talked about. So it's all new to me, really. So one thing that I noticed was on the one that's got my name in it, and we'll kind of get back to that part as far as the naming goes, but Brent's Things He Can't Live Without, whatever that one is, a few episodes ago. I had watched it once all the way through. Shortly thereafter, I saw one that it had been watched. Okay, that's fine. And then a few days goes by and I saw it go up to 3 and maybe 4. And then the next few days, it was back down to 1. That's interesting. And then I noticed that it may just be syncing between, the YouTube, what's the name of that app that if we log into this channel, I can't remember what it's called, Creators app, I don't remember. Anyway, Studio, something like that, YouTube Studio maybe. The numbers differ, and even for that matter, when you have the YouTube Studio. So when you have the recommendations, even like you mentioned, going to your home screen and homepage on YouTube, and it has the video, and then oftentimes how many views. That doesn't line up with once you get to the actual page, and it doesn't line up with what's in YouTube Studio. And so Google is supposed to be good at this stuff. I do database stuff, so I know it's not super hard. So that tells me behind the scenes, they're not all linked up. Things aren't matched up the way they should be. And what I mean by linked up, I don't mean they have a join wrong. I mean, they're probably different databases entirely that at some point run and try to match up and eventually get there, but they're not right, not coming out of the same database. I mean, why can't counts come out of the same database? That shouldn't be difficult. And one thing that you mentioned about, and this is kind of off topic a little bit, but about getting videos from a few years ago. I often get videos that I've seen 2 years ago. And I know YouTube has to have record of what people have seen because they have to keep record of count. They're not dropping who watched it because they have advertising they want to feed to these people. Anyway, I just get so irritated when I see stuff like that. That's more of the database guy coming out of me, that I know that surely these people know how to keep records. They've got far more information on us than they need, and yet when it comes to that type of a thing, they're not getting it lined up, and it's super annoying. But back to the other, kind of more on our side, on the Twins Talk Tech front. I'm looking really dark here, but I think that's because I turned my ISO down. And I've got a light going, but apparently it's not brighter than the sun. Anyway, that seems to be a different topic. For our side, what I've noticed is, for instance, on the most recent video, besides, I guess it was yours, but you didn't put your name in it, of the things that you like. You started out with AirPods, and you maybe mentioned iPads in there as well, but AirPods were a new topic now because of the release of the second version, AirPods 2. That almost immediately, or within a day or so, got 7 views. Woo, big numbers. But for us, not too bad. Whereas Brent sat down there at 1. And I say that, I'm not taking it personal, by the way, but nobody searches for my name, especially the way it's spelled, so that's not going to get any hits that way.
Not even
and
you?
There were no items. No, I don't. Especially me. I don't want to know what's going on with me. There were no items listed in, and I didn't go through and look at the tags, but I did, but the title. And so what seems to be is a title is super important. So first of all, don't take this video as recommendation on how to run your channel, because things change all the time. And in 3 months, Google's algorithm will change. I wish they would change that word because it's hard for me to say. And they might do it some completely different way at that point, or enough that just anything that I might be saying about what to do for your channel, or if you watch a video on that, might not apply. However, the title, that is something that I would imagine anyway will remain consistent. So it's something that we can maybe try on our side. But like for instance, I have the video of the Blue Yeti working with iPhone. There are a fair amount of videos out like that already. Some of them are useful, some of them are not. Mine, some people find useful, probably some don't find so useful. Especially per usual, I don't know the names of the products that I'm saying, so I just say weird things and then put a picture up. But it has Blue Yeti and then iPhone, and decent for us, especially over 1,000 views, which is good. Pushing 2,000, woo! But it just seems to me that what is in the title means something, because it's not only for people that search, but how they're going to link up that video with another similar video. And Google does that a lot. I get some weird stuff off to the side.
Yeah.
I get German videos on occasion.
So for that, there's I'll break it down into the video that Brent sent to me regarding the topic of how to be more visible or how to get more views or something like that. The title is very, very important. Then following the title is the picture. Now for us, because I'm lazy, I just use the picture that you created, and I change the number, and then I post it. But and we don't really do a lot of reviews, so there's people holding up stuff and then making funny faces or whatever else, or explosions or whatever the case is, and so that's drawing people in. But when it comes to the search results based off of what you type in the search box, the title and the metadata, the keywords that you're typing in on the back end, when you're posting the thing. I'm not good at that because I usually forget about what the content is, and I don't really want to rewatch it again right as I'm uploading it. And at the same time, it annoys me when other people bloat their information just to get a view, and then I watch it and I'm like, that's not even close to what I wanted. And so I don't want to do that. So it's like, okay, well, now on YouTube, do I have to do that for us to actually get views? But again, at the same time, I'm fine with not really having any views. So, but you do have the ability, being the one who actually you created the account, but has the password to get in as well. So anytime that you could go in and change these. Matter of fact, that's one of the things that the gentleman recommended for previous videos. If you want to boost their views, you still have access to the title and that metadata search keyword situation. So go in and change the title, and then add. He didn't say so much remove, and I get that. Why remove it? It's probably not causing any harm. If you get accidental views, well, that's just more people viewing your channel. But put in more keywords and maybe think outside the box. We're talking about iPhones. Well, maybe also put in phones, mobile phones, Androids, flip phones, whatever, anything phone related to pull it into one window area. But that's going to help.
But you don't want to be misleading.
Well, and that's the thing is we don't want to be.
We don't.
Most other people don't care because they want the views.
I'll give you one example. And it wasn't misleading to the point of like if we're talking about iOS, so we mentioned in a tag Android. I'm not talking about that. But like Tested, you mentioned Tested a little bit ago. They had a video, one of their typical hour and a half long podcast videos, whatever that they normally do. And their title was something to the effect of 5G cellular, whatever. And I was curious what they had to say about it. So I'm at work and I'm doing my work, but I've got it, so I'm hearing it. And they talk mostly about Disney movies. Like the vast majority of that podcast or video was about Disney movies. And they had maybe less than 5 minutes, maybe less than 3 minutes of actual 5G conversation. And it wasn't anything interesting. It was just talking about a new phone that was supposed to have it, the Motorola, I think, where you put the thing on the back. I could be wrong about what they actually said, but time-wise is what I'm focusing on here. So yes, they did talk about it, but come on, the entire thing, the vast majority was Disney movies. However, I understand it's a technology podcast for the most part, and putting Disney movies up there wouldn't be probably going to get them as many views as they would like. So 5G would. It's what got me to click, but I was irritated to have to wait towards the latter quarter. If you break it up into 4 parts, the last quarter, only about 3 or 4 minutes of actual content that I wanted to hear, and it wasn't even interesting when I got there. Normally the guys are pretty good, and they have some information to say. It is pretty early in 5G to give them a little bit of room to wiggle there, so there's not a whole lot to say on the topic, but I was just hoping there would be more. So that's what I mean when it comes to being misleading. We wouldn't do that because, again, we're fine not having a ton of views, but there's a lot of places out there that'll broaden that phrase out to really try to grab everything, even the fringes. I just find that irritating. So that for me would cause an immediate unsubscribe. Not so much for Tested, again, because I don't watch it all that often anyway, but when you get something that's that you didn't actually talk about. I'll just use what you said again. If we're talking about iOS devices or in general, and we put Android in the topic just to get it attached to mobile. You know what I mean? So Anyway, that's just me a little ramble right there. You got any more thoughts? Because you
This was your topic. I thought you were going to talk the entire time.
Well, right. I thought I cut you off when I kind of went on this little bit, so I didn't know if you had more to say about. Okay, that's good. I don't remember what you're talking about anyway. I did listen. I promise. I'll have to watch it back though to find out what it was you said. I'm sure it was great.
It always is.
But that was, yeah. But we can link. Guess how often that actually happens. The video that I sent to him, I thought it was a good one. At least it brought some topics up into my mind of things to do. And again, I don't have the notes in front of me because I'm a bright individual and I tend to forget stuff. But I was thinking it more from a perspective of what we can do to make the videos a little more not so much appealing, because when you get into the content, you're into the content. But so when someone sees it, and you mentioned the image, that was one thing that he also said was important. I don't like our image. I made it, and I was like, I don't have a great imagination. But it reminds me of POW, prisoners of war. They have one shadow figure facing one way. Now we're just facing two ways. But you'd asked me to send you a picture, so I sent you a picture. So maybe at some point we'll have something that's a little more interesting. We'll see. I don't know how imaginative you are or what your ideas are there. But
I forgot you sent me the pictures. I'll try to look into that.
At some point before episode 265. So I've given you a little cushion there. Maybe we'll have some new show art. But that's really all I wanted to say. It's a lot of, had we done it last week where I was more irritated by it, I would have remembered more. But the weekend has come and passed, and now we're on, what is it, Tuesday right now? I don't even know. Some of those aggravated thoughts, I don't know if that's a word, have come and gone. So I'm not as irritated as I was, so I don't have as much to say. However, I can roll it back to what you had mentioned that, sorry, go ahead.
Nope, you're still on a roll. Keep going.
Well, you broke the roll. I broke the roll because you did this, and that stops me every time.
Just checking.
See, that's not. Well, I guess I've already mentioned about the going so far back, but you had mentioned the blue dot, which just means they have new content or something you haven't seen, I presume. I do get a lot of who I follow on that main page. Typically, I don't pay attention to the main page. I skip over to the subscriptions. At least I scan that first to see if there's anything new. And I presume they do the most recent one at the top. I know, like what you had mentioned for Instagram, they don't so much do that anymore. They have made some changes since you've dropped off that have gotten closer, but there's still not everything from everybody in most recent at the top. But as far as YouTube, they have that. But the home page, my biggest gripe is kind of what you mentioned. Them posting those old videos. As many videos as that gets posted to YouTube, I hate the fact that they're posting something, especially because most of my stuff is technology-wise, that they're giving me stuff from 6 years ago. I don't even care about the stuff that I own that's 6 years old at this point, for the most part. I don't mean my kids, but as far as technology goes.
Yeah, you said technology.
So it's just, why would you show me? Okay, good. They don't watch this, I'm sure, but just in case, love you guys. But that's just, it's just irritating. And I know they've got that information in the background, but their algorithm, and you've already said this, that they're whatever changes they make, they're making change for themselves, their own good. Understandable. They're a company. They're trying to make money. However, it's super aggravating that they're not using the data that I know they have, that all of us know. Google has more information on me than probably anybody, because I use Google, I use Gmail, I use YouTube. Most of my searches logged in and through Google. It's not just Google search, but it's logged in, so that makes it even closer, more attached to my name. So, I mean, if you're going to have it, and that's what they say, they use that information to make things better for you. But when it rolls back to YouTube, it's not any better. I'm not getting the things that interest me. I have to do searches on them to find newer stuff. I can get technology related stuff, but I want newer stuff. There's a finger. I got to stop now.
Yeah, you went longer than I thought you were. So One thing on this topic I think is, and if I remember, I'll link it in the description. There's a channel that we subscribe to. I subscribe to as an individual, and we subscribe to as a family at home. I don't remember if I ever mentioned it here, but Draw with Jazza. He's an Australian guy. He draws cartoons and stuff, and he's entertaining to watch. But he posted recently an April Fool's video. It doesn't say that it's an April Fool's video, but it's an April Fool's video. And so I'm not going to spoil it, but he says some things in there that are kind of on the same topic about, the bulk of his livelihood comes from the YouTube subscribers. He does have an app. He has multiple books. I think even in Australia, he has a local TV show. But that's not, all of it together makes his livelihood. But again, a good portion is YouTube. And so he feels compelled to have a steady flow of high quality content. But this spoof video then kind of goes into how Google has changed the algorithm and he has to compete with all these other people. And so he has to have a nonstop flow of data. The quality doesn't matter anymore. It just needs to be more. And I think that's what the new algorithm, unfortunately, is pushing. For a while there, the algorithm, and it kind of still is, was pushing likes, dislikes, and comments. And that's why everyone was saying, if you like it, thumbs up. If you don't like it, thumbs down. Because they were even encouraging people to thumbs down it because that was engagement that Google was almost requiring to then be put in the proper area to be amazing or whatever Google calls it. I don't know. I'm not sure of the internal verbiage that they have. But, it really goes to show you that if this was something that we were trying to do to make a livelihood out of, we might want to look elsewhere. But also, we would have to be we'd have to have a podcast a day. We'd have to be begging people to sit with us, hey, here's an interview between this person and the great. Here's why. Here's some hardware that you want to see because everyone wants to see hardware reviews. I see people now doing hardware reviews for products they've had for 2 years, which, by the way, that's almost the better review, right? One thing I hate is when I type in something and hit, and the review is in the thing. It's an unboxing and review. I'm sorry, you cannot review something immediately after you've taken it out of the box. It doesn't work that way. That's not a review. That's a first glance. That's first appearance. That's something very brief. And how many times have you gotten something that you thought was amazing? The Mevo, I'll use as an example that I'm recording with right now. Out of the box, it's fantastic. It's tiny. It records an hour of video. I've got the battery pack that gives me 10 hours of video. I can plug in an external microphone. And it gets, as the quality is here, okay video. But if I were to review it, which I hope to one day, it's not worth the price. That's for sure. This thing is expensive. And it really, the quality is not where it should be for something that's this pricey. But I didn't know that when I first pulled it out of the box, right? So someone who's giving those unboxing and review videos, they're very misleading and they're very frustrating. I don't know if you can tell. I'm still just a little resentful. But again, what they care about is the amount of clicks that they get. Even if someone types in a comment that says, oh, this was terrible, it wasn't even a review, it was all brand new, they still want those because Google looks at that and says, hey, that's audience participation. We want to drive audience participation. Quality no longer is important. Leave that to Vimeo, assuming that they're actually putting quality out there. I haven't been to Vimeo in years, but still. It's just one of those things that just gets kind of annoying. But in the long run, what I want to do, what I would prefer to do is do what we're doing now. If we can make the quality of the audio and the video better, let's do that. If we can have the content better by actually having some products here with us as we talk to each other, better. If we can have a little better structure, that'd be nice. But those are things to come, I think. And that's this conversation is kind of the beginning of that. How can we make it better? It'd be great if your audio was clean, especially when you're in the car, and if that you were in focus. But, we don't want to ask for miracles.
I'm offended. I was offended before you even got a few sentences in, because I knew exactly what you were saying.
Where I was going.
It's all true. I'm still offended.
Well, and that's the world we live in. You're totally allowed to be offended by accuracy. So anyways, there's my rant. I think unless you have more to say, we're probably done on the topic.
Done.
Hopefully you and I can get our act together. I'm fortunate. I typically always do it here. I have good equipment. I haven't really been bringing my personal camera, but I can always bring it back if I need to. I want to make sure that this is kept in use. I want to make sure it's always up to date if I do need it for work. And you, as you continue to learn based off of the stuff that you have, I think one day you'll finally be able to lock it in and everything will be great. But, it's all about growing. And if our subscriber numbers grow too, then fantastic. If not, well, we'll probably live. I hope.
Probably.
Yeah. Okay. Well, everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for staying to the end. I know it was only Brent, but still, thank you, Brent, for watching and staying to the end.
You're welcome.
It's always appreciated.
It's worth it.
Thank you to all 27 of our subscribers, whoever on earth you are. We appreciate that. And, if you have anything, as we say quite a few times, that we can improve on or that you want to see specifically, put down in the comment and we'll see what we can do. Maybe there's a piece of hardware that you've been curious about. If we have it, we'll talk about it. If not, then we'll, read up on it and see if we can, maybe talk to people who do have it or whatever. I know a lot of people who have a lot of things. Brent probably does as well. So, again, thank you. This episode is over and we will be seen next week. Ciao.
Bye.